Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Merlin here, and welcome back to Tropico 6. Since the last video, we've moved on from the World War era, and we're now just entered the Cold War era. So there's been some changes. This is the first of two videos today. The second video will be on the next era, which is the last one, which is modern times. Because most of the stuff I've been doing the last 7 days have been off screen, ready to release obviously content for yourselves to watch over this weekend and moving forward. So, like I said, first one today will be about Cold War. So there's been some changes in what's been happening. So let's just I want to go to diplomacy. There we go. Politics. So we've got two new superpowers. The two new powers are Eastern Bloc and Western powers, and they replace Axis and Allies respectively. So now that the world wars are over, we've moved into a a regime of not trusting anybody, spying, treading around on eggshells, all that sort of area. And also we have two new factions. So if I go into, I believe this one, no, that one there, Almanac. We now have the environmentalists who deal with like Mother Earth, so they would suggest buildings to ways to reduce pollution, and the industrialists obviously speak for themselves. They want to gain money out of industry. So those are your kind of like changes in regard to behind the scenes. In regards to your buildings, obviously there's been new buildings now, so we are now able to research and build nuclear power plants to give us more power than we'd had on the normal power plant. But of course, obviously with nuclear power comes pollution. So again, these are things that we would need to look at moving forward, because you can see in the latter part you can go to solar power in modern times. So we can look at that. We've got a metro station, which means people can go from one part to another on the same island. So it's a bit like your subways. And a cable car, which I think is designed more to be like things for tourism. And I'll add that now. Tourism is new in this era. It hasn't been brought into before. It will be one of your new kind of aims to develop tourism for the area. On that one, what else we've got new? We've got the ability to have a fish farm rather than just the wharf. So you generate more fish. Oil rigs, so you can then put oil rigs offshore rather than just on land. Your industry buildings, we will now have chocolate factory, which means it requires your cocoa and sugar. So it's sugar again. It was using the rum, but it's now going to be using both. Furniture factory, which is your planks, which is again, the planks are being used for building boats in the shipyards. So you're going to have to manage this with your logging camps, etc. Jewelry workshop for the gold. So now we're going to see gold being utilized for something other than just selling gold. Plastics, again, this is where your oil will now benefit to get your plastics, which then will generate in the later stages as well. And obviously a vehicle factory for your steel. Now, steel we've already got from the steel mill, so we'll be utilising that, and rubber to provide vehicles such as cars. So again, these are things that are kind of what you've been building up to and moving forward. Residential, you've now got some new residential buildings, so Convertillo, so it's better for those that are, it's better than the flop house in the sense that there are more households for it. So it is slightly, I think the flop house, I think you get 3 flop houses for one Convertillo. So in theory, there's 9 households in here, which is 27, and there's only 20 in here. So you're going to lose the number of a few kind of families, but there are benefits within this that will benefit you. There's no point putting them up, the tenements. I have ignored them wholeheartedly. And then you've got, for the very rich, you've got the secure mansions that are appearing. Entertainment, as you can see, and I think I'll skip through the rest of this because you can see for yourself anything that's got a blue box with a blueprint, so arcade, fast food, and a couple of other things. This is all to do with your fun side of things. This is to do with luxuries. So before you just had the front 3, and now you've got a lot more available to you. Your media, so again, all of this is now available. So your nuclear program, space program, and so forth. Tourism has now appeared for the first time, so anything that's on the tourism page will be able to be researched through your libraries, etc. And then obviously things like public services, so a cathedral will now be better than, say, a church for faith, and hospital obviously better than a clinic, but a hospital is designed for those visitors who are well off or better. A clinic is at least poor, so people that are poor or broke wouldn't be able to go to the hospital anyway. Military, there's a couple of new military items here. Again, obviously you see here the Spy Academy is your time. It's time to be in that sort of area. You've got to, and secure checkpoints as well. I mean, these are little small things you stick on roads. It's those sort of things that, no one trusts anybody at this point. And a couple of new things like courthouse and ministry, and then obviously everything else hasn't changed. So those are pretty much your buildings. There are some, I believe, some new edicts coming out. Yeah, so you'll have some new edicts that'll appear, and obviously as you research them, they will then appear on your availabilities to kind of release those edicts if you feel necessary to do so, much on the same sort of lines as everything else that we'd had before. Research, we said, speaks for itself, so again you just research as much as you can. So again, we just said we would want to do those two as soon as possible. This was a leftover from World Wars, and this is now all to do with the Cold War. Trade, that hasn't changed, it's still the same, there is no change. The only changes is obviously who you can sell to and what items are available. Constitution, we've mentioned already, so again, you can change bits and pieces of the Constitution as it requires. Your politics and your broker's still there, so you're still the broker. Yeah, so broker's still there. As you remember, I've managed to open up all 5 of the slots available, so I can get up to 5 requests at any one time. So this is kind of where we left in the last video, what the situation, i.e. the layout. There was a couple of things I think I put in after the video. So for example, the fun fair, that's in over here, and I think I kind of designed it that this area will be my tourism area. So we look at the map, it'll be there. And obviously we'd look at rejigging some of the stuff as we see fit. So whilst here, we're going to move into how I've progressed through Cold War. So it's another different save game. So I'm going to load the game up, and it, I believe, is that one. Yeah, Cold War. So we're about 15 years into since the changeover. So it's now 1965. And what you'll see here is, again, I'll pause the game so we don't get too carried away. What you'll see here now is more stuff that's become available, and I've moved some stuff around as well. But let's just going to go across here. I'm going to zoom out there on it completely. And so first of all, this is our tourism spot. So originally we just had this. We've started to put in some hotels, and there's a couple of cabanas, villages for people to stay in, visit points, places to visit, tour offices. There's a tourist port, so people come into the tourist port. So all those sort of things. So again, this will grow hopefully as time goes on. And I think we've had a meteor storm, which is why there's so many fires going on at the moment. Yeah, I think that was the reason why we had so many. We had quite a few. There was a meteor storm that hit, and that's why a lot of buildings are on fire at the moment. You can see over here, we mentioned the industry. So the new chocolate factories, and jewelry workshops. So you can see here, I've put this sort of area designated for the new industry. And obviously the power plant is working over here. And talking about power, we go over here. This is our nuclear power plant. And on this island is where the uranium is, and also a load of gold mines. So you can see here there's loads of gold mines and uranium mines as well. So uranium is going to be supplying the power plant, which is giving us a lot of power. So if you go on the overlay, look at electricity. At the moment, there's no electricity over here, and we're going to rectify that straight away because there will be need for it at time. Now, obviously, as you can see, the nuclear power plant seems to have a circle around there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a substation in here, electrical substation. I'm going to put that straight in here somewhere. So let me just zoom in. We'll just put that in the middle there, something like that. I'll quick build it. Might be useful to take off the pause. And then if I then pause that again and then use the overlays again, look at electricity, you will see now that that one subsection is now covering the whole island. And the reason behind that is basically what you're doing is you're expanding. So, for example, any power plant, any nuclear power plant, all tops up into one kind of balance. And at the moment, this is my surplus available. So you can see here, this generates 528 megawatts on its own, with the other power plants as well. And minus what's being used, we've got a net surplus of 900 megawatts of power at this moment in time. So again, much the same as before. You have your embassies, so an embassy in place at the moment, and then obviously to move forward, you can build a new building. I mean, like the banks, I think were from the previous time, but a lot of the stuff hasn't changed. It is much the same as before. Your trade availability is still the same. I've put some more over here. There's some weapons factory, steel mills over this way as well. So, things haven't changed a huge amount compared to the previous era, apart from the fact that you're researching new buildings. So if I go into my research, and you want to research, let me just recover research in just a moment for what I'm going to say. But you want to research as much as you can, as quick as you can, with the availability of the buildings that you have. And the way I looked at it is once you've done what you needed to do in the game as a whole, so when you get to modern times, once you've researched everything you can research, I personally would destroy or demolish any research buildings. You don't need them anymore. Why have the cost of them on your upkeep if you don't need them? So anyway, there are kind of three different types of research. I don't think I've mentioned it before, but anything in red deals with the Constitution, anything in orange to do with your edicts, and anything with green are those items whereby you may or may not have already built the building. It doesn't matter whether you have or not, but when you do build the building, you potentially will get new available options to upgrade or to change the process. Now, some of those processes may not be beneficial, and some of them may well be beneficial, and you make that choice accordingly. So let's just say, for argument's sake, let's pick one that's been done. So let's go to the customs office, which is over here, I believe. No, that one there. Okay, so these two came in after it was researched, and basically it says here you can have a special tax on your customs office of basically having money transferred to your Swiss bank account, or you can decrease the price of taxes on imports by 10%. So that can negatively affect you or positively affect you. You've going to get your upgrades. So again, here, this was something that wasn't on there before. It is now, because tourism becomes available. You can pay $7,500 on your customs office, and now any tourist arriving will pay $10. So you can build up a bit of an income on that. So as well as remember your radio and TV stations. So that's pretty much where you are with the Cold War. To get progress from Cold War into modern times, you do have to finish off. So for example here, I've aligned myself with the Western powers. To get yourself into, or start the process of getting yourself into modern times, you have to finish off what their demand is, set them to alliance, and then I think there's a couple of other things that come up as well. And again, I'm not going to go through too much with you because you can see that. I don't want to spoil stuff that comes out, so you can see that for yourself. And then basically you then have the option to go into modern times, which I will show in the next video in just a moment's time. So for now, I think we're at a good place to stop. If you have any questions, then please put them in the comment section below. Obviously, as always, if you've liked what you've seen, then please click the like and subscribe button. It does help the channel because obviously more people then get shown the video, which means I can then see that people are enjoying it and then release more content. So I'm hopeful that the people will enjoy what we've seen so far. Other than that, I will see you on the next video when we go into modern times.